England chasing, of course, that big deficit, reaching 132 for 4 at the close. The Aussies moved on from their overnight score to 662 for 9, declared the two. Big Centurions gone pretty early, but on they went, and England, as you can see, still 127 runs behind. Let's start to mop up some reaction downstairs. From the Aussie camp, Josh Hazlewood. He's with Ali.
Well, the rain is falling. Josh, is it a little frustrating that you weren't able to stay out there longer tonight?
Yeah, it is a bit frustrating. That's part of cricket, though, and we would have loved 1 or 2 more wickets tonight, but yeah, unfortunately it started raining.
You must have been delighted to get those couple early on, and that caught and bowled in particular, very athletic. Yeah,
it's just one of those things that sometimes it sticks and sometimes it doesn't, so I was pretty happy with it, and yeah, to get, I think, Cook and Root again back in the sheds is very important, yeah.
What was the importance, though, of the big partnership between Steve Smith and Mitch Marsh, just keeping the England openers and the rest of the guys out in the field for that long?
Yeah, that's right. There's a few heavy sets of legs in the England camp, and especially the bowlers. So yeah, it was a great partnership yesterday. Only losing the 1 wicket all day hasn't happened in quite a while for the Aussie team. So it was good to see.
How far away do you feel you are from regaining the Ashes right now?
Yeah, I feel pretty close, I guess, but you're never too sure until it actually happens. So we've obviously taken the tail wickets quite quickly in the last 2 tests, so hopefully we can do that again tomorrow.
Have you seen a delivery from Mitch Starc that has quite done what that one did?
Yeah, it's pretty special. Sitting down leg, obviously, then hit the crack and took the top of off. So yeah, that's getting anyone out, I think.
So feeling pretty confident now with the position the team are in?
Yeah, still pretty confident. We're in a great position, and obviously, again, the first session tomorrow is pretty important, and hopefully we can finish them off.
And I'm sure you're hoping the rain stays away. Josh, thanks for your time.
No worries, thank you.
There's definitely 2 views on the rain, depending on your nationality. He's in that place that sportsmen sometimes are, where he's trying to suppress a smile.
Yeah, I like that question. Are you still feeling confident? Yeah, it's still pretty confident. Yeah,
so, not bad.
And with good reason too. They've played really, really well, haven't they? After losing the toss, and Joe Root had no hesitation of jumping in there, and they started to mount a big total. The big breakthrough of Milan in that, and then the collapse, and then obviously built that huge innings that was closed out this morning. England showed some good signs this morning, didn't they? Jimmy Anderson coming out and doing that with the ball, but they've let it all go again by losing those 4 top-order wickets.
Yeah. We've spoken obviously a lot about Alistair Cook in the chat previously, well, and Joe Root for that matter, but to look at it from a bowling point of view, because there's always 2 sides to a story. They have that happy knack, the Aussie trio, as we've seen with Josh Hazlewood with those first 2 early wickets, Stoneman and Cook, and skill to go with the knack.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned England this morning, but it actually wasn't what they wanted to see. The ball's starting to do a little bit more from those cracks. The cracks are just widened just a little bit from yesterday. There was no movement at all from the England seamers yesterday, and then all of a sudden Jimmy Anderson got the ball in hand, started moving it around. And you always know with someone like Josh Hazlewood in particular, if there's an area of the pitch that he knows is going to be vulnerable to the batsman, well, you know that it's going to be someone like Hazlewood that hit it 80-85% of the time. Now, this dismissal of Stone just concerned me somewhat because he played well in the first inning, but he took a peppering. And if you just look at the field that they had set, they had a short leg and a deep square leg. The ball before he played a pull shot, I'd not seen him play that shot throughout this series so far. And you see how late he is onto that delivery. It's a good length, it's not a half volley, and he's just late getting that head going back towards the ball. And that's a concern because he just had a couple of bounces. That's a terrific catch, it really is.
It's a brilliant catch. I mean, 6'6". Everything going well. Cook, maybe tried to turn it here. You'll see him just try to slightly go leg side, get to leading edge, but he's going away from the ball, gets down, breaks his fall beautifully with his left hand. And they practice these things, these bowlers. They get run in and bowl and have their coaches with a tennis racket and tennis ball and hit it back, so down low. But brilliant. You're spot on. If there's a bloke that you want to exploit an area on the wicket, well, first of all, you thought of McGrath. Who are we comparing to Glenn McGrath? It's Josh Hazlewood.
Yeah, no, that's true. And they all have slightly different qualities, actually, the main trio, don't they, of pace. Clearly 2 of them are quicker than the others. Josh is perhaps the craftiest, would you say? Well, Stark's got that brilliant ability to break through, and then Cummins is a battering ram.
Well, I think why they're so hard to face is because they've got difference. You know, they've got the angle of the left arm of Starc. You know, Hazlewood can hit any pitch, you know, in terms of if it's going to get some kind of movement or even he will hit that zone on the surface. Cummins can do all that you would ask him to. He can hit the zone, he can bowl quickly, he can bowl bounces, and that's why you're never really in against this Australian side. Then you've got the off-spinner Nathan Lyon, who's bowled beautifully throughout the whole series. Yeah, as I said, you know, you get to 50, you get to 60, but they've always got a plan that they could go to that can unsettle you from being in the present moment.
Yeah.
You know, about the great fast bowling units generally, so maybe save for the West Indies and look at the leading wicket takers there. Starc, I was going to say the fast bowling units are well supported by a good spinner, and Nathan Lyon today, he had to get down to the opposite end of where he would feel he would want to have bowled. There's a breeze coming across, he would love to have got that drift, but that was the end that the quicks were operating, nestling into that ridge or that crack on a length, so he had to come to this end, the Lily Marshdown end. What's he do first ball? Floats one up and Joe Root nicks it. So, but he just knows how to have an impact. The one wicket he got in the first innings was the one that set about that big collapse. So, yes, the quicks are amazing, but they're beautifully supported by the second highest wicket taker in this series.
Yeah, and not only does he take wickets, he pins you down, doesn't he? He does pin you down.
Well, absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's what all four of them are doing. They're causing a lot of distress with the moving ball when it gets there moving. It's obviously the bouncing ball. We've seen plenty of the short pitch stuff. Yeah. Pretty much throughout the whole series. And in Nathan Lyon, they've just got lobbing the ball, and every now and again he's just obviously not on the picking wickets, but he bowls a lot of dots. So they can rest the seamers from the other end, and you just know as a captain that once you've got that spinner that can control an innings, and you can just keep throwing the ball. Now Mitchell Marsh has joined the team this week, so he's got 4 seam bowling. I can say Mitchell Marsh didn't bowl terrifically well today, but those 3 quicks have been pretty much the difference between the two teams.
Let's pluck a sliver of positive. James Vince's batting before he got so cruelly dismissed by the ball of the series. It was good.
Well, the thing about Vince today is we know he can play that shot. We know he's got the ability to be able to drive through the covers. We know he's got the ability to time a cricket ball. What he brought today to the crease, what I was really impressed with it, he had the eyes, the steel in his eyes and the desperation to make sure that he got in better positions. He also defended some good balls like that one, which was on and around the off stump. And I felt for him because I thought today was his moment, that he was going to go and join Milan, who got the 100 in the first innings. He was well on his way to getting a test match century by playing just pure cricket strokes. There was nothing flash about it. He just kept his shapes, and then all of a sudden you get that.
Oh, we were on air, weren't we, at the time, morning? That was unbelievable. I don't think even Mitch Starc knew that was going to be the end result. That should have gone down and brushed the outside of his pad, but it brushes the outside of the off stump. So that's moved the width of the stumps plus some. And may well he look down at that pitch and say, what have I done wrong there?
Well, he must be thinking, why me? He just got to 55. He was playing as well as I'd seen him in an England jersey. The one thing that innings will have done is because, let's be honest, going into the second innings, he was under a huge amount of pressure. A huge amount of pressure. There's the 42 centimetre difference in terms of where it ended up to where it should have ended up down that leg side. He was playing the right shot to the angle of the delivery that was produced, and all of a sudden it just hits the edge of that crack. And
look at the purple line, Vaughan. If you follow that going up where his bat is, he's clipping that to fine leg for a single, so you can't fault him on the shot at all. It's truly unplayable.
I do think whatever he went out with in terms of mentality today and what was going through the 6 inches, I think that's probably been the criticism of James Vince in his short test career, is that he's always played some nice innings, got to 20 and 30, all of a sudden he makes a mental error. Whatever he was thinking out there today, store it up, put it in a bowl, bring it out to Melbourne.
One other positive today, Jimmy Anderson reaching 50 test wickets in the calendar year. While the rain was still hammering down a couple of minutes ago, he spoke to Ali Mitchell.
Thing to say is it's Jimmy's idea to stay out here in the rain rather than take cover. But Jimmy, the rain, did it come at a helpful time for England given the match situation?
Yeah, of course it did. Obviously we're behind the game a little bit, but we are where we are. We've got to try and keep fighting as much as we can. The rain obviously helped us a little bit tonight, but tomorrow we've got to come back with a good attitude, and hopefully we can fight through the day.
Is there confidence in that the two guys out there, David and Johnny, put together such a strong partnership in the first innings at least?
Yeah, definitely. I thought the guys, the application today was really good. James Vince got a ball that was really unplayable. David and Johnny got us through to the end there, and there's going to be a lot of impetus on those two tomorrow to try and get us through a lot of the day, but we've got plenty of batting to come as well, so we've got people who can spend time in the middle, and we're going to rely on everyone tomorrow to try and get through the day.
You managed to take 4 wickets, which slowed the Australian scoring rate this morning at least, but how heavy is the frustration with the batting? Only 400 on the board in the first innings, which turned out to be insufficient compared to what Australia were able to get.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I think from the position we were in, it's been the story of the series for us so far. We got ourselves into a great position, 360 odd for 4, and to only get 400 from there is a real disappointment for us. But that's that's where we're at. That's the situation of the game. We can't do anything about what's gone on now. All we can focus on is tomorrow and come here, like I said, with a good attitude and try and get through the day.
Well, if this rain stays around, that might be your saviour, but we'll let you get inside now. Jimmy, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, he won't mind the rain. He wants some more tomorrow. Here's the wickets that he took earlier today. Some cute and clever bowling. He's only one behind Courtney Walsh now in the all-time wicket takers. So.
Yeah, 50 wickets in the calendar year, and he just came in and hit a length that we probably felt needed to be hit by all the England bowlers throughout this whole series. Too often we've said, oh, they're too short, but starts to get a little bit of movement there. And then, as you say, picks up the 4 wickets, and everyone thought, he'll claim that one too, that's Nathan Lyon just swinging out pre-declaration, but you've got to take every wicket you can get. We all thought what a huge impact he was going to have in this series, along with Stuart Broad. And there you go, leading wicket takers in all Test matches. Look at the name above him, Courtney Walsh. At one point was way out in front, but yeah, they're quality names, and rightly he fits Vornia in amongst those names.
Yeah, and he'll be chasing Glenn McGrath.
Yeah.
Arnold Cumbley 619, that's a long way off, but Glenn McGrath 563. You feel that you're looking at McGrath being the leading wicket taker for fast bowlers in Test match history. I'm pretty sure that Jimmy Anderson's got Glenn McGrath in his sights. Yeah,
and he mentioned, obviously, that they were disappointed to only make 403 from 360 for 4. It's that familiar, all too familiar collapse, I suppose, from the tail. But they've also, obviously, bowling-wise, for all the good news there, they've let the Aussies score such a massive total that they need the rain now tomorrow.
Yeah, England should have got more runs. But also, you've got to be dead honest. England so far in this series have got 10 wickets in Brisbane. They've got 18 wickets in Adelaide. And they've got 9 wickets here at the Wacker in Perth. And it's just a kind of combination of everything. England need everything to work for them, to win in these kind of conditions, to compete. They have to maximise every type of opportunity that they got. They got an opportunity at 368 for 4 to get 500. They didn't take it. You go back to Brisbane when they had Australia 210 for 7 in the first innings, still 90 runs behind England. They didn't take that opportunity. The Adelaide Oval, they had an opportunity bowling first to bowl that little bit fuller ball like you do this morning, Jimmy and Stuart. You'd have probably bowled Australia out for a lot less than the 442. So it's all like talking points. Ultimately, you look at the series so far, Australia have just been better in all the different facets of the game.
Of course, the one we're in, perfect, can't go green and gold, otherwise we're all done. And there's only really then the discussion about whitewashes. The Ashes will be Australia's again, and Gilly can start to celebrate. But talking of conditions, we're obviously hoping to be sat in here all day tomorrow, talking to the folks at home about the terrible weather in your hometown.
Oh, is that what the viewers want?
I say
listen to us. Yeah, first session, there you go. There's a breakdown. Early showers. They're meant to be heavy rain overnight, but so that may drag on into the morning and then clears a little bit. I suppose the Australians will be looking and saying we just need 2 solid hours.
Yeah.
And they'll be feeling it at 4, as you can see there, 4 for 132. They'll be feeling we only need 2 wickets, and then we've seen what we can do. We've demolished the last 4 wickets whenever we've had a chance to get at those guys. Just quickly back to the positive. We've spoken about the positives of the batting of Milan and Bairstow and Vince. Overton. He was the one that did look threatening out here. He's going to need a bit more time in Test cricket. He's going to learn as he goes. It's a tough place to learn your trade.
He's playing with a cracked rib.
But he's got a cracked rib, and I love that courage that he's out there. Even today, first ball he got in, you could see, but just trying to get into it. And that's the passion and desperation you need when you are afforded that opportunity to play for your country.
Well, Jimmy Anderson, didn't he? He said that there's plenty of batting to come. Well, there's Moeen Ali and Chris Woakes, and after that, I just don't think that you can rely too much on Overton, Broad and Anderson. I will say that it's down to Milan and Bairstow, and also you're looking at 6 hours of batting. You've just seen the forecast. I would think England would, if you can break, say that the first session get rained out, suddenly 2 sessions of batting becomes possible. If you look at a whole day's batting with just 6 wickets remaining, that's a long way off. So they might need a little bit of help from the gods.
Oh, they will. And you presumably make short plans, don't you? Get through the next half an hour, hope for a bit of assistance, get through to the next break. That's how you plan it, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever you know the next break is, and then one may come earlier. But it is going to be all about switching on and switching off, and whether they can restart after the various breaks, whether it's lunch break, as he's scheduled, or a rain break. Every time they go back out, they've got to just click their fingers, get their mind focused again, and then work together to get to that next break.
And the two men at the crease are the two men effectively in form, aren't they?
First innings.
Now, I know it doesn't always work that way. You'd think the two guys that have scored a century should be in great nick to do it again. It doesn't often go that way, but they've looked solid so far.
Yeah, they played nicely, and they're going to have to play nicely tomorrow. You know, I think on a pitch like that you kind of in your stand and you can see the cracks. I think it's so important that you have players out there with confidence, and these two clearly are a confident pair because of that first innings. Moeen Ali's going out there on a pair. You know, Chris Woakes has not got a huge amount of runs behind him, and as I said before, Overton, Broad and Anderson, they're just not going to last too long against this kind of attack, so it will come down to this pair. If this pair can bat the first session and send a load of confidence back through to the dressing room, England have a chance, but if you lose one of these two early, it could end quite quickly.
Well, I've heard talk of a wicketkeeper batsman once scored a big knock here pretty quickly. Don't know who that... Remember who that was?
Brad Haddon, was it?
Yeah, I think he might have been. Yeah, he's hanging about. Yeah. So who knows? Listen, Johnny's quite an assertive batsman, isn't he? I guess Milan has shown that he's prepared to dig in, but Johnny would have to play some of the shots that he's naturally able to play. He can't just defend.
Yeah, he pretty much dealt in boundaries tonight while he was there. He really dug in defence. He had the tough spell of Mitchell Starc to get through after witnessing, like we all did, that amazing delivery that James Vince picked up. But he defended. There was a few boundary hitting balls. He hit boundaries. They've got to both do that, use their feet, particularly Milan against Nathan Lyon like they did in the first innings. So they've got to just try and keep doing what they did in the first innings.
See you both.
I'm off dancing all night for the rain.
Yeah.
You'll be pulling the covers off.
Wow. Well, don't forget highlights of day 4, 11:30 this morning, and we are back slightly earlier in the early hours of tomorrow morning, 1:45 on air for a start of play at 2 a.m.